The MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is presented by Shady Rays. Go to shadyrays.com. Use the code SGPN for 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. Welcome, everybody, to the MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is Sunday, April the 16th, and we are here with a show with all the picks for Monday, April the 17th across MLB. It is a three-man show tonight, and first we will go to the hardest man, the hardest working man, in fact, on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network from Houston, Texas, Mr. Munaf Manji. Munaf, how are you doing?
Doing well. I'm going to go ahead and be honest. I will be distracted during this episode because I have baseball and the NBA playoffs on. But glad to be here with you boys. Hopefully we can find some more winners for the Monday schedule, Mel.
Sunday night does tend to be sweat, loads of other bets while you're recording night because there's often a golf sweat going on. I don't have a golf sweat. The football's finished. I'm all right, actually. I've got most things under control. So I'll concentrate, Munaf, on your behalf.
Thank you.
And maybe, I know our third wheel is also distracted. And very much, I need you to talk us through the tie-dye outfit, Mr. Dylan Rockford. What's happening here? Woodstock.
What's going on, boys? Yeah, good to be with you. Back in my heyday in college, I worked at a smoke shop. It was like a Deadhead store. I don't know if you've heard across the pond, the company called Grateful Dead, and the owner was the Deadhead. So got a lot of tie-dye apparel, but not a Deadhead myself. Yeah.
I know what Deadheads are. I know what the Grateful Dead is.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it suits you, mate. I like it. You look very, very smart. Yeah, I've had a busy weekend anyway, so I didn't catch up on an awful lot of baseball. I was working last night at the casino out at a wedding, as per usual. I did. I mean, do you want to talk about the 25-1 underdog double that I gave out on the Premier League Gambling Podcast? Do you want to talk about that now or later, Munaf? Aston Villa and Bournemouth. How do you feel about that? Sorry?
I felt great. I said you got to tout it right now. I felt great.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interested. You can confirm that
it was, before the matches got started. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, so if you do want to listen to the Premier League Gambling Podcast, there's no better time I threw out. Yeah, Aston Villa were plus 260 to beat Newcastle. I mean, listen, by the way, I've just made this speech on the show. What kind of cold-blooded, like ice in the veins, slow your heartbeat down to 12 beats per minute like an Ethiopian marathon runner tipster do I have to be to fade my own team when they've won 5 games in a row and give out Aston Villa at plus 360? And then I doubled them up with Bournemouth at plus 650. So 2 moneyline bets, doubled up at 25-1. So yeah, I was really excited about that. And the Grand National was yesterday, had the winner of that at 10-1 as well. The big headline tonight is the end of my matchup with Captain Insano in the Fantasy League. And I need a stolen base. He's got me. He's getting 5 points to my 4 points. But we are 11 on stolen bases. So I need Brandon Nimmo or Starlin Marte, I think, are my live hopes here. And Marte's been running, so I need them to nick a bag against Oakland, and then I can save face. Otherwise, Captain Insano, and rightly so, can rub my face in it. So come on, boys. Need your Mets to get running, Dylan. Monday, we have a 14 or 13 game slate, actually. Usual Monday-ish problems. We've got one TBD pitcher. I've got a couple of games without lines. Texas, who were playing in the Sunday night baseball game. We don't have lines for the Mariners and the Brewers, who are playing as we speak. Tampa Bay are going to throw out a bullpen day, so that's mangling the lines a little bit. But we will try our level best to give you some more winners. Our Lock, Dog and Total show. Blake came on the show on Friday. Myself and Noah and Blake did a show. It was loads of fun. Graham Ashcraft of this parish did the business as an underdog. So yeah, that was a successful and fun show. So listen to that. Blake gave some really good fantasy advice as well. If you've got some late waiver wire pickups for your Sunday night or your Monday morning waiver run, give that a listen back and Blake will point you in the right direction. But tomorrow, right now, I get this wrong every year. Why is there an 11:10 a.m. first pitch in Boston, Munaf?
I believe it's the
Boston
Marathon Day.
Yeah.
And also, I think they're also commemorating, or not commemorating, but remembering Boston Strong. I think when they had the tragedy during the marathon, I believe. I think they also paid tribute to that and remember those that were lost. So I think that's why they have the early start.
Okay, I didn't know that. Then I must have been confusing that with either a national holiday or something where there's generally an early start. So, that's good. I'm all for it. 11:10 early start in Boston tomorrow is the LA Angels and the Boston Red Sox. And we've got a stud going for the Angels as well to mark the occasion. Shohei Ohtani will pitch for the LA Angels, and Brian Bello, my guy, is back. Myself and Noah we drafted him in our TGFBI league. We've stashed him on the IL, and he's ready to go tomorrow. Ohtani and the Angels -150. Bello and the Red Sox are +120. Total errors at 9.5. And Dylan, you're going to lead us off with the Angels at the Red Sox.
Yeah, I'm going to back the Angels here on the road. I got a -145. I like them up to a -175. That's how I favored them. I think you just got to back Ohtani here in this spot against Bello. He's making his first start of the season. And the Red Sox have had the Angels number in this series, but, I think Ohtani on the mound, he'll do a good job at limiting the contact with against the Red Sox. He is 3-1 in his career versus the Red Sox. 2.35 ERA, just 6 runs given up in 23 innings, 22 strikeouts as well. So I feel like at this price, it's very short. I feel like we got to back the Angels here instead of Bello, who, he really hasn't proven anything. Even Angels first 5 -0.5. I think that's a good bet as well. So I'll take the Halos full game, and I like them first 5 as well.
Yeah, it's hard to know what we're going to get out of Bello, and we do like him. See, we have drafted him and stashed him. I think he'd probably get a short start. He was going well in spring training, and then just had a little bit of a setback. So it'll be interesting to see what we get out of him. Ohtani just gets no help from the Angels. It's like they're trying to booby trap him every time they send him out there. I think I got to factor in some sort of positive angle on Brian Bello here. So I've got him for first 5 under. I think Ohtani can deal. It's got early in the morning, sluggish start, be a little bit chilly, and Brian Bello can keep it tight. You might get maybe 4 innings out of him. The game today finished 2-1. I think Boston turned them over. So yeah, something similar. First 5 under. We'll ask Munaf the same question. I'm going to ask you, Munaf, though. We've got our first commenter of the night now. Me and Baz had just finished the Premier League show, and we were fairly confident there was must have been some big NBA stuff going on because there was nobody watching or in the YouTube. All the usual faces were gone. So we thought there must be some NBA stuff. And Barry's just asked about Munaf's grey beard. And I was going to go, it's -800 that Munaf replies and blames me for stressing him out. And sure enough, before I even got to the end of the sentence, Munaf's in there defending himself and pinning this on me. So, hey, Munaf, tell us about the Angels and the Red Sox, and then tell us about your grey beard.
Yeah, I think you guys nailed it. It's can you trust Bello in his first start, or not? First start this season, I should say. He was really inconsistent, I guess we could say is the word, last season. I mean, he did make I want to say quite a few starts last season for the Red Sox, but they ended up losing his first 7 starts last season. I know it was back in July 6th. From July 6th to about the end of August, he made 7 starts, and the Red Sox lost every one of those losses. And like, Dylan mentioned, Ohtani has been really good against the Red Sox. I think I got to back the Angels in this spot with Ohtani on the mound for the Angels. I think the bats will be able to get to Bello here. If they're able to stay patient at the plate, the Angels, Bello does give up the walk. So I think that's the way they can manufacture runs. But like Mal, you said, there is just something that the Angels can't produce runs when Ohtani is pitching, at least. So sometimes it feels like that Ohtani has to bring in his own RBIs or drive in his own runs when he is on the mound for the Angels. So I'm going to go with the Angels as well. First 5 innings, I think that's a good look. Take it on the run line. As far as the To address the gray in the beard, I think it protrudes a little more since I do have better lighting now. Doing these episodes.
Yeah, the new ring light for your birthday. They can be quite unforgiving, moving after the old ring lights.
Oh yeah,
they're quite exposing. So next up, we have a 6:40 Eastern first pitch. The Cleveland Guardians at the Detroit Tigers. Hunter Gaddis will go for Cleveland. In Erod, Eduardo Rodriguez, lefty, goes for the Tigers. Cleveland -120 behind Gaddis. Erod and the Tigers are +100. And the total is set at 8. Munaf, want to take a minus price about Hunter Gaddis?
I can't. He's not been very good in his couple starts here for the Cleveland Guardians. 0-1 with an 8.53 ERA. He's had 2 bad starts. He did have a good start against the A's, but it is the A's. In his last start, he did get blown up by the New York Yankees. And 4 of his last 5 career starts, not just this season, but for his career, he hasn't made it past the 4th inning and has allowed at least 4 earned runs in all 4 of those starts. Eduardo Rodriguez on the mound for the Tigers. All 3 of his starts have been on the road so far this season. Will be his first start at home if they're able to get this game in. He did have a good start in his last start against the Blue Jays, where he did go 6 innings, allowed only 1 earned run. In his career against the Guardians, he is 2-0 with a 4.05 ERA. Guardians this season against left-handed pitching are number 12 in batting average. I'm not sure if I can trust either pitcher here, Mal. The weather is going to be a factor. I know they're still waiting to get this game started between the Giants and the Tigers. It is supposed to be in the 30s with, I think, wind blowing in and possibly some rain or flurry of snow there. So I'd lean with the Tigers here. But again, this weather is just kind of making me nervous for both of these teams. So we'll see if it does get off, but I do lean with the Tigers if it does go off.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Moon. If I had to go with the Tigers here, you can't take Gaddis at -120. You just can't. He might win, but you can't bet him at that price. Erod, there's been enough positive signs, and I think even money is a fair price. Detroit, the Javi Baez had an eventful weekend again. I don't think we've touched on that since Thursday. He's been up to all sorts, but he's got himself back in the team and did a few bits and bobs for them last night. So yeah, Erod and the Tigers for me, Dylan.
Yeah, I've been going back and forth with this game because my numbers did make the Guardians a -150 favorite, but I just, on principle, I can't back them at that price. Even a -116, it seems tempting with the Guardians getting them at that number, but I can't do it. I can't pick any side, to be honest. I just can't get that start against the Yankees out of my mind, to be honest. And Erod, he does have more positives, but this is his first start at home. He's lost most of their games as well. Tigers, they've won 3 in a row, so tricky game. It is supposed to be very cold. I set my total at 7.8. We got winds blowing in as well. So for the show, I guess I'd lean under, but other than that, I can't bet any of these sides.
Okay. I'll tell you about Shady Rays, and our friends at Shady Rays have got you covered from the sun to the slopes with their premium polarized shades, customizable snow goggles, and much more. Shady Rays are an independent sunglasses company, offer world-class product, durable frames, extremely clear optics, and the really great protection of lost and broken replacements will be replaced even on day one, no questions asked. So you can wear your Shady Rays with confidence. If you don't love them, you can exchange them for a new pair or return them for free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop with Shady Rays. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays has given out their best deal of the new year. Go to shadyrays.com, use the code SGPN for 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 200,000 people. And don't forget the NBA Challenge, our NBA Playoff Survivor Challenge, completely free to enter. And the winner gets $250 cash and a $100 SGPN gift card exclusively on the SGPN app. 6:40 Eastern first pitch, the Tampa Bay Rays and the Cincinnati Reds. It's Jalen Beeks who will be the opener, I reckon, the lefty for the Tampa Bay Rays. Hunter Green goes for the Cincinnati Reds. Tampa Bay -138, Cincinnati +110. I have no total on this so far. So yeah, it looks like a bullpen day here for the Rays. The last bullpen day, they did actually shut out Boston one day last week. The Pens actually worked quite hard in this series. against Toronto. They got a nice little lift tonight because Alek Manoah had a stinker. Alek Manoah handed them the win early on because they lost the first couple of games of the season, and you thought, okay, let's just see how they react to it, and then they were kind of gifted it back tonight. So that was a positive thing from a Tampa point of view. Hunter Green for Cincinnati. 14 innings he's pitched. He's been quite hittable. 17 hits, 8 earned runs, and he's walked 6 as well with 23 strikeouts. He's got 3 really similar lines. And in the 3 games they've played, they've lost 5-4, 5-4, and 5-2. He was at his best last time, his best performance of the season so far. And he's a little bit more settled at home. Cincinnati have been good at home, 5-3, more than competitive. This is a good spot here, I think, for Cincinnati. The bullpen days do worry me slightly. You just never really know what you're going to get. Like I say, they did shut out Boston last time. But I'm happy to take a punt with Cincinnati here. I think plus 110 behind Hunter Green is a fair price. So, yeah, give me the dog. I'll take the Cincinnati Reds. Dylan, is it a home puppy for you?
I actually have Taj Bradley going.
Oh, have you got Taj Bradley going? Okay.
That's who I handicap, to be honest. So it's kind of directed towards that way. But I do have the Rays here on the money line, minus 135. Favoring them up to a minus 175. So Taj Bradley's had a decent first start at home against the Red Sox. 5 innings, 3 runs, giving up 8 Ks. And the Rays did get the win. I do like Hunter Green as well, Mal, but the Reds, they've lost every start from Green, but he is striking out a shitload of batters right now. So depending how how high his K prop is, I'll maybe look at that as well. But I just think overall the Rays are the much better team, and at minus 135, I think that is a steal. So they did get back in the win column today, so I just got to roll with them. I'll take the Rays on the money line.
Munaf, did you have bullpen day or Bradley, or were you unsure?
Yeah, it's still said undecided for me, but yeah, I'm not sure if I can trust Hunter Green. I mean, you guys mentioned that he can strike out batters, but it's always the walks that get him into trouble, right? And I think that for a Rays team who I think are very patient at the plate, I think that they'll be able to draw those walks and manufacture runs that way. They have lost all 3 of the starts that Hunter Green has made so far this season. The Pirates, the Phillies, and the Braves. And all 3 of those teams have scored at least 5 runs in all 3 of those games. I'll probably look at a first 5 innings here, money line or run line for the Rays. I don't trust Hunter Green. I think he is making strides slowly, but the walks are just a huge concern for him. So I'm going to go with a better team here, especially like Dylan mentioned on a very cheap price here. I'll take the Rays.
I've missed your tennis match eyes, Munaf. It's been about 6 months since I've seen your tennis match eyes. He's just sitting there, he's just pretending he's listening, and you can just see him going from screen to screen trying to see what's going on. Big fan of that, Munaf. 6:40 Eastern first pitch. The San Francisco Giants at the Miami Marlins. Alex Wood, left-handed pitcher for the Giants. Jesus Luzardo, lefty, goes for Miami. The Giants plus 115. Miami are minus 135. The total is set at 8. Dylan, the Giants haven't managed to get their game underway tonight with Detroit. Is this going to affect what happens in Miami tomorrow?
Yeah, it might. Getting to Miami might be a little concerning, and everyone, when they go down to Miami, they love to party. So that's an issue in itself. But I do like the fish here at home. I got them at a minus 135. I made them a minus 140 favorite. Jesus Luzardo has been fantastic this season. And, I think he's catching the Giants at a good time. They've lost 4 of their last 5. While the Marlins, they've won 4 straight. They lost today, but they've been on a really good path. They're playing good baseball. And they play better at home. And I just think they're the better team right now. They're hitting better than the Giants right now. So should be a low scoring game. You got 2 really good pitchers in Alex Wood and Jesus Luzardo. But I just trust the fish a little more in this spot at home. So I'll take them as the favorite.
100% agree with you. I've been in on Luzardo. I think I've taken him every time he's pitched, and I'll take him again tomorrow. And again, this was before I knew the Giants were going to have this travel issue as well. And that just moves the needle ever so slightly in Miami's favor as well. So I think Miami at minus 135 is a fair price for me. Munaf?
I think that Dylan nailed it, that Jesus Luzardo has just been so good so far for the Marlins. 2-0, 1.93 ERA. They've won all 3 of the games that he started so far this season. And Marlins have really turned it around, facing left-handed batting this season. I think they were dead last in a lot of the metrics last season, at least the offensive metrics as far as left-handed pitching. But this season so far, I know it's still early on, but they're number 8 in WRC plus team batting average. They're number 4 against left-handed pitching. So I'm going to go with the Marlins here. I like the home puppy. And again, like you guys mentioned, it's going to be a difficult travel situation for the Giants if they do get this game in Detroit. If not, they have to travel down to Miami there. So I'm going to go with the home team here.
Okay, team ride on the Miami Marlins. We won't often get one of them on the fish this season. 7:10 Eastern first pitch is the Philadelphia Phillies at the Chicago White Sox, where Zach Wheeler goes for Philly and Lance Lynn is on the hill for the White Sox. Philly are minus 150. The White Sox are plus 120, and the total is set at 7.5. And Munaf can tell us all about this.
Phillies and the White Sox. Zach Wheeler on the mound for the Phillies for this 0.02 ERA. He has had did have a good start against the Marlins. Wheeler has been decent on the road since he did join the Phillies, 19-17 with a 3.80 ERA. Did face the White Sox, but that was back in 2019 where he did go 7 innings, allowed only 1 earned run in that span. Lance takes a mound for the White Sox, who's been struggling early on for the South Side. He is 0-1 with a 7.31 ERA. He's allowed at least 3 earned runs in 2 out of 3 starts this season within the first 5 innings. The White Sox have lost all 3 starts from Lance Lynn this season. He hasn't faced the Phillies since the 2013 season, so nothing relevant there. I can't trust Lance Lynn or the White Sox team right now. They have lost 4 of their last 6 games. I'm going to go with the Phillies in this spot. I think I have definitely the better starting pitcher here. Phillies line for me in this spot. I'd possibly look at a run line as well.
Dylan, Philly at the White Sox.
Ooh, I know this probably won't be an attractive bet, but I honestly, I'd rather back the White Sox here at home than the Phillies. They just lost 13-0 the other day to the Reds. I know it's Lance Lynn, but, I thought he did pitch better against the Twins after that horrendous outing against the Giants. So the Phillies bats, they've kind of died down a little bit. I don't know. I just don't trust the White Sox either at home in what I think is a coin flip game. White Sox first 5+ at half, maybe sprinkle them as a home puppy. I lean over as well. I think both pitchers could give up runs. I set my total at 7.9. We do have 11-mile-an-hour winds blowing into right field as well. So lean over and lean White Sox first 5.
But the Phillies are winning
Philly got a
3 today.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I was just going to say they put up 8 in the first inning. So that, to be fair, that had a lot more to do with Luis Cessa, the Reds pitcher, just throwing the ball all over the fucking place rather than anything that Philadelphia did. But I mean, these are the 2 teams that I feel least confident handicapping. However, I don't have to handicap this game because I am on day 5 of my 14-day auto fade of the Chicago White Sox, which is 3-1 so far, by the way. 3 wins. Although the White Sox are ahead tonight, but they've got plenty of time to blow that. So I might go 3-2. So yeah, Philly minus 150 might be a unit and a half play, but I've got to fade the White Sox. I've got 9 more days of it. So that would be my pick. Next up, we have a 7:40 Eastern first pitch. And this is the odd one with no lines. It's the Texas Rangers at the Kansas City Royals. Officially a TBD pitcher for Texas, although I think it's Jacob deGrom. So that's not going to help with any lines. Jordan Lyles goes for Kansas. And obviously Texas play tonight as well. In the league. Who are they playing tonight? Is it Houston again? In Sunday Night Baseball.
Sunday Night Baseball, yeah.
Yeah. So I like a lines here. However, if it is deGrom, and there's no reason to think it isn't, this doesn't take an awful lot of handicapping. deGrom is 1-0 with a 4.32 ERA. He's had 2 great starts following that initial wobbly one on opening day. He struck out 9 and 11 hitters his last twice. His last start actually was against Kansas City when he struck out all those batters. All 3 of those starts have been at home. So this is his first road start for Texas. However, I can't see a reason why he doesn't go well. Jordan Lyles has given up 8 hits, 4 earned runs, and 2 walks over 6 1/3 pitched. Texas won 8-5 against KC last week, and KC are 1-8 at home. Terrible home record to open the season for them. So this was all Texas run line. One of those boring ones, but I couldn't get away from it. Dylan, Jacob deGrom, your guy, run line tomorrow?
Yeah, probably. No lines, but I did handicap it as deGrom and Lyles going. I made the Rangers a -175, -1.5. I need a -105. Flip it for the Royals, +175 on the money line, +1.5, +105. Made my total 7.9. I think the Rangers should take care of the Royals here on the road. Maybe to get the odds down, like Mal was saying, put them on the run line. Maybe Rangers first 5 -0.5. I think they're going to have a tough time trying to score off deGrom. They are awful at home as well, like Mal mentioned. So that's how I'd play this game. But yeah, it's either Rangers or pass for me.
Munaf, could you find another way of dressing this one up?
No, I'd probably just go Rangers first 5 run line as well, if you want to throw that in. But I think these two pitchers matched up last week, if I'm not mistaken. But Mal, like you mentioned, they did get the 8-5 victory, and that 1-8 speaks volumes to me for the Kansas City Royals at home. So got the better pitcher on the mound. I think that deGrom's finding his form here a little bit as well. So Rangers for me.
Captain Insano has turned up. The one person that we didn't want to turn up has turned up in the chats. He's little mini flex about he's claiming that he's the champ, which is a little bit early. Just hold your fire, Captain Insano. He's also noticed your sly eyes, Munaf. He said he's sneak peeking at Lakers Grizzlies. There's nothing sneaky about Munaf. Is just watching Lakers Grizzlies. His lack of commitment to this show is quite astonishing. He's just blatantly out there watching it. So yeah, there's nothing sneaky about it. But one stolen base, Captain, and I will have you. So yeah, steady on. 7:45 Eastern first pitch. The Arizona Diamondbacks at the St. Louis Cardinals. Merrill Kelly draws the start for the D-backs, and Jack Flaherty will go for the Cards. +150 on the Snakes, -163 on the Cards. Total is set at 8.5, and Dylan Rockford has this one.
Yeah, I love the under 8.5 in this one. I made my total 7.6. Two solid pitchers going here, Merrill Kelly and Jack Flaherty. We also have 16-mile-an-hour winds blowing in from center field, so that should always help. But Merrill Kelly in his 3 starts, only 5 runs given up in 15 innings. Walks have been a little bit of a problem. He's given up 4 walks in each of his 3 starts, so maybe look towards a walk prop if it's set around 1.5. Flaherty, he's been even better, though. 3 runs given up in 15 innings. All 3 starts for Kelly have gone under the number, while 2 of the 3 starts for Flaherty have gone under this number as well. Don't know why it's at 8.5, especially with the win. 2 good pitchers. I don't expect 8.5 to last much longer, so I'd jump on it, and that's probably one of my favorite plays of tomorrow.
Dylan's got the weather dominated for this Monday card. Munaf, how did you feel about this one?
Yeah, 2 good pitchers like Dylan mentioned there. The concern with Flaherty early on in the season was his walks. I mean, you took a look against the Jays, he walked 7 batters. Against the Brewers, came back and walked 6 batters. But he got it under control against the Rockies, where he only allowed 1 walk to them. 5 1/3 innings so far, or he's gone 5 innings in all 3 of his starts here. I would probably lean towards the under in this game. Merrill Kelly has been good as well, but it just hasn't translated to wins for him. Take a look at his record, 0-2 so far, I believe. Yeah, 2.93 ERA. He's also given up the walks as well, like Dylan mentioned there. So I look for a walk prop as well. I think he nailed it there. But I'll go with Jack Flaherty here against the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, I agree with you. Merrill Kelly's really boring to handicap. He will go okay and lose. It's what's going to happen. The price is workable. I've got it down as -163. It's a little bit slightly more prohibitive than I would like to give out. So maybe a parlay piece, but if I can shop around in finding -150, then that would be the pick for me. So yeah, nothing official, but Dylan's talked me into the under there as well. Made a sound case for the under 8.5. Good game, this one. 8:10 Eastern first pitch is the Toronto Blue Jays at the Houston Astros. Kevin Gausman for the Blue Jays and Christian Javier for the Astros. Tight on the books, -120 Toronto. Even money, +100 for Houston. A total is set at 8. Munaf, probably the best, well, in fact, definitely the best pitching matchup on the card. So which way is it going?
Yeah, 100%. Like you mentioned, Kevin Gausman, he's off to a great start here for the Jays. He's 1-1 with a 1.35 ERA. In his last start, he went 8 innings, allowed 3 earned runs to the Tigers. He did face the Astros last season, went 7 innings, only allowed 2 earned runs, and he did strike out 10 Astros batters in that game. Christian Javier gets to start for the Astros, 1-0 with a 4.24 ERA. He has allowed 3 or more earned runs in 2 of his 3 starts this season. He did struggle last season, or in his last start, where he allowed 4 earned runs in 6 innings pitched. Javier pitched in 2021 against the Blue Jays, where he did allow 5 earned runs in just 5 1/3 innings pitched. The Astros are struggling a little bit early on at Minute Maid Park in the juice box, where they're just 4-5. Pending obviously a Sunday night baseball game, but they are also 7-2 to the over at home this season. I think I like the Jays bat to continue their success here. I like them on the money line. I'm back Kevin Gausman here. I like their team total to go over as well. So I'm going to fade the hometown team in this spot.
Did you say over or under there, Munaf, you liked?
Over on the Jays team total.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was the total that caught my eye here because Gausman, I don't know, he's been all right, but he's hittable. And against the Astros as well. I think they could both contribute here. This looked to me something like a 5-4 game. As much as they're 2 sort of big name pitchers, they both proved so far this year that you can kind of get to them. I like both of the lineups. Blue Jays did have a bit of a shocker today, but had put together a nice couple of wins against the Rays before that. Yordan Alvarez, he's so effortless. He hit one out last night or the night before. I think it was last night. Honestly, he looked like it was a third of his swing. It was just a little cricket shot, a little jab, and it just sailed into the seats. It was incredible. So, yeah, I like the over here. I just think there might be some runs. 8 was a little bit too low for me. What did the Rockford line say on that total, Dylan?
Yeah, should be a good series, good matchup as well here, Gausman and Javier. I kind of lean towards the under 8.5. You could still get 8.5, so I made my line 7.6. But, Kevin Gausman hasn't allowed a run on the road this season. His strikeouts have really been up there as well, 11, 7, and 7. He's going deep into games as well. And to mention what you were saying, he just hasn't been – I think his velocity is a little off as well. He's not pitching as hard as I think we're accustomed to him seeing. And Javier, he's also pitched well at home. He had a little hiccup in his last outing, but I think we kind of see a lower scoring game, maybe first 5 under. But depending on Kevin Gausman's out prop and strikeout prop, probably look towards that to play the game. And just like you mentioned, Mal, Orioles stormed right back 4-3. Guy hit a triple. Yep.
It's wallop. Auto fade is in full effect. If they win that, I might not need the old sword vitality later on if we're celebrating. Self-care is cool and manly, and you can be proud of taking care of yourself, especially after a comeback win. 40% of men are affected by impotence at the age of 40. Nearly 70% of White Sox fans are affected at the age of 70. So stop buying those dodgy little gas station blue pills that you hide in your sock drawer. Sword Vitality will help increase your blood flow in ways that help you thrive as a man. It's time to become a Sword Vitality man if you aren't experiencing erections in the morning. 3 main benefits are increased blood flow in ways that help you thrive as a man in the bedroom. Sword Vitality can help increase your stamina, and you don't have to hide it. You can be proud of it. So unsheath your sword. Visit swordvitality.com. Use the promo code SGPN for a nice discount at the checkout. That's swordvitality.com. Promo code SGPN. Next up, 8:40 Eastern first pitch is the Pittsburgh Pirates at the Colorado Rockies. It's Dick Mountain Day. Rich Hill, lefty, goes for Pittsburgh. Kyle Freeland, lefty, goes for Colorado. Plus 105 for Pittsburgh. Minus 125 for Colorado. Total is predictably high, 10.5. Rich Hill, 0-3, 15 innings, 16 hits, 12 runs, 6 home runs he's given up as well. Bosh. Kyle Freeland's gone really, really well. 2-0 with a 0.96 ERA. Rich Hill's pitched exactly as we thought he would. He's hittable. He gives up loads of home runs. He has had 5 appearances in Colorado in his career, 26 innings, 26 hits, and 21 earned runs. So nearly 1 run per inning. So I can be fairly confident what to expect here. Kyle Freeland's pitched really, really well. 12 and 2/3 he's pitched at home so far this season, giving up 10 hits and only 2 earned runs. Both of those were on solo homers as well. I can trust Freeland. I can't believe these prices. I can't believe Hill is only plus 105. I don't know what Dylan's priced this up. I would have had Hill at plus 130, plus 140. I think Colorado are a great price. We do like picking them at home. And what a spot this is, man. Freeland v. Hill. Minus 125. I love the Colorado Rockies here. Dylan, how did you price this up?
Yeah, I agree 100%, man. I'm going to take a shot here with the Rockies here at home. I got them on minus 130. If you're saying that we could get minus 125s out there, I like that as well. I made them a minus 155 favorite. So, we always talk about teams traveling to elevation after playing a game on the road. I just think this could be a bad spot for the Buccos. They're playing good baseball right now, but if I'm being honest, I'm not a biggest believer in Rich Hill at all. Kyle Freeland, on the other hand, he's pitching great. He's given the Rockies a lot of length, and I just think this could be a good spot for them to get back into the win column. I know they lost 3-4 in a row, so I think this could be a good spot for them. Bats break out a little and get to Rich Hill. So minus 125, I'm on the same side as you, Mal.
Munaf, there's no way you're taking Rich Hill, is there?
I think Rich Hill is the Dallas Keuchel of this year. Like last year, we were absolutely fading him. And I think, like you mentioned, you mentioned the numbers, what he's done in Colorado. Kyle Freeland has been really good. I see the price now all the way up to minus 140. I could still get behind that. Give me the Rockies money line. Not much more to add what you guys mentioned.
Okay, love it. Easy. 9:40 Eastern. First pitch, the Chicago Cubs at the Oakland Athletics. Hayden Wesneski for the Cubs and Kyle Muller, left-handed pitcher for the Oakland A's. Minus 150 on the Cubbies, plus 120 on the A's. Total is set at 8. Dylan, tricky one this.
Yeah, very tricky. I ended up taking the Cubs here on the road. Just going to continue to fade the A's, 1-9 in their last 10 games straight up, and just 2-6 at home. I can't back them, even though I think Kyle Muller hasn't pitched all that poorly, this season. So besides his last outing against the Orioles, I think he's done an all right job. He just can't get any run support. So I trust the Cubs bats way more than the A's, who they're bottom 5 in every major category offensively. Cubs, they're 5th in batting average, 9th in slugging. Eventually, they're going to get to this bullpen. They have an over 10 ERA. They walked the Mets 17 times the other night. So I just think eventually the Cubs are going to get to this bullpen. It's just an auto fade. I'm going to take the Cubs here on the road.
The highlights of that game against the Mets was when I watched sort of over breakfast or just sitting in bed with my cup of coffee. And I wasn't really sure what was going on because I'd just woken up. I was a little bit dazed. I sort of did 2 or 3 times, I had to rub my eyes and sort of rewind it back to the start. I was like, show me this again. Because Nimmo walked and then Marty. But then it happened again. And I thought, is that a glitch? But it wasn't a glitch. They just kept doing the same shit every 10 minutes. Munaf, Oakland at home with the Cubs.
Yeah, I think the only one pitcher that you can really back if you want to back Oakland A's during the season is Kyle Muller, but it has to be within the first 5 innings because what Dylan just said there, this bullpen has just been atrocious for the Oakland A's. So I'll take a shot here with the A's in the first 5 innings money line. I'm going to back Kyle Muller here. I think that by far he is the best starting pitcher. It's just, again, I don't trust that bullpen. Cubs are in LA today. They'll be traveling to Oakland. It's not too far of a travel spot because they are in the same state, but I like what I've seen from Kyle Muller. He's just had one bad start. He's been decent in Oakland. I'll take a stab at the A's in the first 5 inning money line. A little contrarian play there.
Yeah, well, I was with you, but again, this is where I need to learn Munaf and go first 5. I took Oakland outright, plus 120 for the reasons you mentioned about Kyle Muller. And I thought Hayden Wesneski was hittable on the road last time in Cincinnati as well. Probably first 5 might be a more prudent play, but Oakland put up quite a few runs at Baltimore. I watched them a couple of nights at a British-friendly time last week, and the bats aren't bad. So Oakland are going to win some games. So let's see if they can't win this one, plus 120. Next up, we've got a TBD pitcher. This one is completely off the board at the moment. It's a 9:40 Eastern first pitch between the Atlanta Braves and the San Diego Padres. It's Atlanta that I don't see a pitcher for. We have Ryan Weathers going for the Padres, the lefty. And
Now,
other than that, I can't tell you anything else. Munaf, can you shed any more light on this one at all?
No, I mean, just Ryan Weathers really didn't have any lines on this game. Not even a starting pitcher for the Atlanta Braves. So, I mean, I really didn't handicap it. But Weathers has been off to a good start for the Padres. I think we could mention that. Trying to pull up his numbers here exactly. I know he was 1-0 with a 2.70 ERA. Has gone 5 innings in both games that he has started for the Padres. One was against the Diamondbacks at home, and one was in New York against the Mets. And they've won both of the starts. Like I mentioned, he's been pretty good. 5 innings in each of those starts. Total of 3 runs allowed in both of those starts. Just depending on who the pitcher is for the Atlanta Braves, I couldn't give you much information. But I'll say this. I like what I've seen from Ryan Weathers so far.
All right, you would say I was the complete opposite, Munaf. I might be talking to my pocket here, but I think I took the over, or maybe I locked the over when Ryan Weathers pitched against the Mets last week. And he loaded the bases up in the first inning, and they couldn't score any runs. And then there was either he left 2 on maybe in the second, and they couldn't get any over. And I was just thinking, there's something's going to give here. If he does that tomorrow, I'm not sure Atlanta will be as forgiving. But yeah, I can't add anything more to that other than I thought Weathers got really lucky last week. Dylan, that was the game against the Mets. Did you watch Weathers in that spot?
Yeah, of course. That's 2 games in a row where Mets get bases loaded in the first inning and can't get a run to save their life. It's getting used to it. But while you guys were talking, we did get lines up. Braves minus 150. Padres plus 130, 8.5 is the total. Max Fried is going, and that's who I handicapped as well. He's back. So, yeah. So my handicap, I needed plus 115 to take the Braves on the run line. I made my total 7.2. So now that we're seeing 8.5s pop up, kind of like the under here. He's been great in his career versus the Padres as well. The Braves, they're a much hotter team right now. They've won 7 of their last 10, while Padres, they're up and down, kind of shaky, under 500 at home. Not the biggest fan of Weathers as well. I think the bats of the Braves could get to him. I think this could be a bad spot for the Padres. So lean, maybe it's a little chalky at minus 150, but maybe first 5 Braves, and I do like the under.
It must be half time in the basketball or something, is it? Because a lot more faces have just appeared in the YouTube comment section. TVDBJ is there. Good evening, sir. Welcome. The penultimate game this evening is the 9:40 Eastern first pitch between the Milwaukee Brewers and the Seattle Mariners. Corbin Burns for the Brewers and Chris Flexen for Seattle. I've seen no lines on this at all. Dylan, no, everyone's shaking their heads.
Yeah, no lines for this.
Is this just because we've got games in running, do you think? The Sunday night games are still going?
Possibly.
Anyway, Corbin Burns 1-1, 5.19 ERA. Has had 2 dodgy starts, but he did get his big bounce back at Arizona last time. 8 scoreless innings. Chris Flexen was bashed all over last time. That wasn't Wrigley Field, which is weird, and I'm kind of quite happy to put a line through. His 2 home starts were fine. And last year, he put up a 3.26 home ERA. I don't mind Flexing. I tend to, I don't know what it is. I'll often find myself siding with him. This could be close. Both teams are scoring runs. Seattle were finding a little bit of form. Captain Insano said that Luis Castillo was midway through a perfect game about 20 minutes ago. I don't know if that's changed. This was really, really tricky. I think Flexen can hold up. So I've gone for a first 5 under. I think Burns will settle in again. But if Flexen can hold up, yeah, under on the first 5 for me. But yeah, it's a dodgy spot, Munaf. Could you work this one out?
Corbin Burns in his career against the American League is 8-1 with a 1.59 ERA.
Nice stat, Munaf.
I think that he may have found his form here against, or in his last start, like you mentioned there, Mal. I just don't like what I've seen from Chris Flexen. I know the ERA is definitely inflated because of his last start against the Cubbies. But the Mariners have lost all 3 of the starts that he has made so far this season. Depending on the line, I would definitely do like the Brewers side, but it just depends on what price that comes out at for Corbin Burns. I would side with the Brewers here, especially with the history that Corbin Burns has against the American League.
Okay, the start of the day there, Munaf. Love it. Dylan.
Yeah, I got Burns going for the Brewers. Favored them -155, -1.5. I need a +115. Home puppy for the Mariners, +155, +1.5, -115. I agree kind of with you, Mal. I kind of like the under, maybe first 5 under. I set my full game at a 7.2. So depending on what the line opens up at, I'll probably be on the under in some shape or form. But, I think Burns could build off after that start, after having that good start against the Diamondbacks, which, was also on the road. It makes me feel a little bit better now that he's going to the Mariners on the road. Flexen just got smoked in his last start. Mariners, they're really not the best at home this season, and I think the Brewers have the better bats. I trust their pitcher a little more, so heavy lean on the Brewers depending on what the odds open up at, but I do agree on the under.
Nice. Final game. 10:10 p.m. Eastern Time between the New York Mets and the LA Dodgers. The Mets +140 behind lefty David Peterson. The Dodgers are -160 with Dustin May going. The total is set at 8.5. Dylan, your New York Mets, any faith tomorrow?
It's a wait and see right now. I am leaning towards the Mets on the road. I think they're playing a little better baseball right now. I need a +155 to take them, and I think we could maybe get there come game time. Trust the Mets bats a little more right now than the Dodgers. I think they got going. Granted, I know it was against the Athletics, but Dodgers, they've only scored 4 runs in their series against the Cubs. I think the Mets could get on base, maybe draw some walks, give some problems for May. So for the show, I'll take the Mets first 5 +0.5. Hopefully towards game time, we get a +155. Then I'll find myself on the dog. But for right now, I'll take Mets first 5 +0.5.
Okay, I must admit that I don't really share your optimism here for the Mets. There was a weird series against Oakland. They got it done the scores are pretty comfortable, but they did get quite a lot of help. Dustin May has been outstanding, probably one of the best pitchers so far on the season. I think Peterson's vulnerable as well. I've got this down as a LA Dodgers run line. So completely contrarian to what you said there, Dylan. Munaf, can you split the tie here?
David Peterson's left-handed pitcher, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. All right. Yeah, I just want to make sure. Dodgers have struggled so far this season against left-handed pitching. They're actually dead last as far as team batting average against left-handed pitching. They're also struggling this afternoon against Drew Smyly, of all pitchers, who is also a left-handed pitcher for the Cubs right now against the Dodgers. They've only mustered 1 run through about 6 innings so far. So I think that kind of continues here. I do like the under 8.5 in this game. Dustin May has been off to a pretty good start as well. 1-1 with a 1.47 ERA. The Dodgers have actually lost 2 out of the 3 starts he's made so far this season. Just hasn't really gotten the run support. He did get it against the Diamondbacks where they did score 5 for him, but other than that, it's been 1 run, and then they got shut out by the Giants in a start that he did make. So I'm going to side with the Mets here. I'll take the Mets money line +140 in this spot.
Yeah, you got a little fist bump there. You got an air grab from Dylan when you took the Mets. Yeah, I didn't. The Mets against lefties. Oh, sorry, the Dodgers against lefties never really got on my radar moving up. So yeah, that's a good angle, and I like that. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we've handicapped the 13 games. And it's time to get our locks and dogs out right. I need to establish, everybody, am I allowed a dog at +100?
No.
No?
Actually, yeah, sure, why not?
What if I just lie and say it's +105? No one know any different.
I mean, if you shopped around, maybe you find a +105.
Yeah, there you go. Hang on a minute. Oh yeah, I've just looked at this book here, and
there you go.
There's a +107 actually. I've made it up to be bigger than it actually was. Okay, right. I'm happy then. Dylan, you go first.
Oh, wanker. All right, I'll go. I'll start with my dog. I'll take the Mets. I love the stat that Munaf told me about. Dodgers ranked last against lefty. That makes me even better because I do think people aren't giving David Peterson enough credit. I think he is pitching better than the numbers are saying. So give me the Mets here on the road to upset the Braves as my dog. And as my lock, I told you I like the under for the Cardinals and D-backs with Merrill Kelly and Jack Flaherty. First 5 under as well. Got wins coming in as well. So like that game under. And I also do like the early morning game around 11 a.m. I like the Angels here as well as another lock. So double lock and a dog.
Whoa, double lock for Dylan. Patriots Day lock. Munaf, what have you got?
I have a question for you once we get done with our picks, but
okay. Don't like the sound of that.
For my lock, let me start with my dog here. I'm going to go with the Rockies run line -1.5 plus 130. I'm going to fade Rich Hill in this spot. I mean, we all talked about the stats of how bad Rich Hill has been to start the season so far, and how bad, Mal, you mentioned how bad he's been in Colorado in his career. So I think that continues here. I'd like the value here. Kyle Freeland's off to a great start for the Rockies pitching. We've talked about how we like back in the Rockies, especially at home. So at a -1.5 plus 130 price, I think the Rockies can get to Rich Hill early and often. So I'll take that as my dog. For my lock, I am going to go with, give me the Tampa Bay Rays -135 right now. No, I'm sorry. Give me the under, either like the under in the Marlins game or the Marlins money line. I'll take the Marlins money line -135. Jesus Luzardo on the mound for the Marlins. Giants they're in a tough spot. I don't think they're going to get this game in Detroit. I don't think it started yet, so they're going to have to fly down to Miami. But I like what I've seen from Luzardo so far. Miami has improved against left-handed pitching so far this season. I think that continues here for them. Give me the -135 Marlins on the money line.
That rain out is handing Captain Salo this victory here. Okay, my luck. Colorado, this just jumps off the page. Like literally, it slaps you in the face when you have a look down this card. -125, Kyle Freeland to fill in Pittsburgh and Rich Hill. And for my dog, +105 is the Detroit Tigers. Erod, I can't be backing Hunter Gaddis at -120, man. That's madness. That way, madness lies. So, yeah, I'll take Detroit at slightly over even money. Okay, Munaf, what do you want to ask me?
So you and Barry always mentioned the ladies' menu. What is the ladies' menu? I understand when Captain Insino's saying the ladies' tea on a golf course. What's a ladies' menu mean?
Ladies' menu. So if you go out for dinner with Mrs. Munaf, so something off the ladies' menu would be like a little side salad, like a little light lunch. So you're sitting there with a rack of ribs or a T-bone steak or something covered in, I can picture you covered in juice and sauce. And then I can see Mrs. Manji just having a little Caesar salad or something. So ordering off the ladies' menu. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. He also accused me of not having my big boy pants on. There's quite a lot of the British rhetoric getting picked up by the locals now, because me and Baz will just talk a lot of shit. And Dylan keeps calling me a wanker as well, which is fine. Dylan, anything you need to tell us before we go? What's the Mets score right now, Dylan?
1-1 from, hold up, last time I checked. Yeah, 1-1, top 6, 2 outs, no stolen bases yet. So it looks
that's what I was looking for. Okay, yeah. I'm going to go and watch the last half an hour of that, then see if we can get a steal. Munaf, are you winning the basketball?
Yeah, it's off to a pretty good start today. Lakers covered the spread, but they also won outright. So good start in the basketball for me. We still have 3 more games tonight, so I'm going to be watching that till late night here.
Beautiful. A lovely tight 54 minutes. You can tell that Noah is not on tonight's show. We think Noah might have fallen in a hole or on a spike today. So if you do see him in the street, just tell him we're looking for him. But yeah, thanks everyone. Thanks everyone who joined in the comments. Usual place, like, rate, review, thumbs up, all of those things. Dylan, we appreciate it. Munaf, thank you very much. Good luck everyone with all your bets, and we'll see you down the road. Cheers.